Okay, I think we're live. I think we're good to go. Darren has joined us, it looks like. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Doing good, thanks.
Perfect. We've got some people joining us now, so we're rolling. For everybody watching, there's a couple more people on today. We are talking with our DreamDirt farm real estate agents, which is really exciting. At least a few of them. We've got quite a few agents scattered across the Midwest, but we have 5 of them with us here today, so that's exciting. We're just gonna first go around. Let's have the full-time staff that you guys see about every week. Let's just go around and introduce ourselves so we know who's on the call, and then I'll have the agents introduce themselves. So Tom, do you wanna go first?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have everybody join us today. My name's Tom Bradley, auctioneer, land broker with DreamDirt, partner with Jason and Nicole. Been with DreamDirt probably since about 2015. Handle a lot of the day-to-day bill paying type situation, plus my own auctions, and help facilitate all the other auctions that the agents book and work with them throughout that process.
Stephanie?
Good morning. I'm Stephanie Lee. I'm the listings and closing manager at DreamDirt. I've been with DreamDirt since early 2018, and I handle all of the listings, getting them up on the website. And then once they've auctioned off or sold, I will help get them through the closing process.
And Rachel, you kind of double duty today.
Yeah, not only am I an agent, but I'm also a full-time online auction coordinator with DreamDirt. So I help publish all the auctions that we have on bid.dreamdirt.com, follow up with our farm bid machinery bidders, send out invoices to them, and just help with all the online bidding and clerking for our online auctions, and just fill the needs of anything that needs to be done with our full-time staff as well. And Kristen mentioned that I'm an agent as well. I do have my real estate license, and so I partake in having auctions and listings as well.
And I'm Kristen, communications manager. I help support our agents with any sort of advertising campaigns that they'd like to do. I do a lot of graphic design and layout and stuff like that, and help push our brand out. So that's the full-time staff. We might have Jason and Nicole joining us. Jason and Nicole are 2 of the founders of DreamDirt, and they're both auctioneers. So we'll see if they're able to pop on. I know they're in the comments at least, so they're supporting us that way. But let's go around and get to the meat of the matter. I'll kind of call you guys out so we can keep this organized, but let's have the agents really dive in. You guys haven't been on our Facebook Lives before, so dive in, introduce yourself, any sort of experience you bring before becoming a DreamDirt farm real estate agent, and where you're located at. So Rachel, let's have you go first. Really dive into that experience you bring to the team.
Certainly. So I'm Rachel Hoy. I grew up in Dallas County, Adel, Iowa, on both a livestock and row crop farm outside of Redfield. My grandma still lives there today. And my dad, my sister, and I kind of take over the farming for that. So we share a cow-calf herd as well, as long as we have our corn and our beans planted too. I am a graduate of Iowa State University. I majored in animal science and added a minor of agricultural business along the way. I really enjoyed those agricultural business classes along with animal science. And one of the elective classes I took was rural property appraisal, which is where you learn kind of the value of farms and how you look up subject properties and comparables. So I kind of fell in love with finding what value farmlands bring, and looked at recent sales around, you chose a project and you chose your family farm as a subject, and looked up comparable sales and kind of put the project together throughout the semester and came up with the value of your family farm. Leading off of that, I reached out to DreamDirt since I saw that we had a Dollars in Dirt website with all the sales, around Iowa, reached out to Jason and kind of fell in love with DreamDirt and took Jason's advice of getting my real estate license the summer after I graduated. So I worked on my real estate license and then joined the team full time, like I mentioned earlier. And I just really share a love and passion for agriculture, searching farmland values. And I'm also the online auction coordinator for DreamDirt and just help with all of our auctions and love every single bit of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you stay busy with it all, so we're so glad to have you on the team. Andrea, let's kick it over to you in Eastern Iowa.
Okay, Andrea Andrashik, and I live outside of Kelmer, which is in Winneshiek County, so the northeast corner of Iowa. So that's the area that I primarily am focused on. And my background is I grew up on a farm. We milked cows as well as grew corn and beans. And then currently my husband and I, we own some land and we farm some corn and beans. And then we also are involved in my family farm operation as well as my husband's family farming operation. So we stay busy with that. Before joining DreamDirt, I guess I graduated from UNI with a bachelor's degree in finance and real estate. And I worked in Cedar Rapids as a residential realtor, as well as a loan officer and personal banker. So I have the experience of the transactions of the residential side as well as the finance side. That's, I do enjoy that side of it. And then when we moved back to Northeast Iowa, I thought it would, seem fitting to kind of combine the two, the farming background and the real estate background. And DreamDirt just naturally was that place that I landed. Really the different options that we offer, the online auction, the live auction, and the listing is really what drew me to DreamDirt, as well as the great marketing that we do on the properties that we either put up for auction or that we have listing. When comparing companies of which company to work for, that's what really stood out to me is the marketing that we are able to offer to our sellers. So.
Thank you. We're so excited to have you on today.
Thank you.
Let's have Linda, if you want to introduce yourself.
All right. I'm Linda Croce, a farm agent with DreamDirt. So excited. I was born and raised in Washington County, Washington, Iowa. We had a large farm of corn and soybeans. And when I was younger, we raised hogs from farrow to finish. Sorry about that. And then as I became a teenager, Dad slowed down a little bit, did a lot of golfing. But I always had those farm roots. And 5 years ago, I invested in 100 acres. I have had a blast. 80 acres are in corn and soybeans, and the other 20 acres I get to play hunting, CRP hay. I've done a lot of stuff with just that 100 acres. I joined DreamDirt just because of being a property manager and working with tenants and enjoying people. I've had such a great experience. I wanted to continue working in the land and agriculture business. And DreamDirt, of course, was the company that offered full services, has a great team with all kinds of background and experiences. And that is what I continue to do. I hope to continue working in the ag business for some time. So thank you.
Great to have you on today. I'm gonna kick it down to James.
Hi, I'm James Sprinkle. I'm a real estate agent with DreamDirt. I was born and raised in southern Indiana. Grew up on a farm there, been in and around farms all my life, and actually became friends with Jason Smith probably about 12 years ago. And he actually was one of the people that helped me move to Iowa. I just got a lot of advice from Jason on where I'd like to land in Iowa, what I wanted to get out of life and where I wanted to be. So anyway, I landed in southeast Iowa in Van Buren County. And I have a background in farming, like I said, which helps me understand the ins and outs of farming. I know the blood, sweat, and tears that's put into farming. and I like to help people get the most back out of it when it's time to sell it. And also, when I was in Southern Indiana, I worked in the timber business, so it gives me a good understanding of the value of timber. A lot of times when people think about the return of investment on a property, they always think about row crops and things like that brings money, but also you have to understand timber, how much timber could be, and a lot of times that can make your down payment for you, and people just overlook that. And I'm an avid outdoorsman. That's what brought me to the state of Iowa. Me and my wife and my little girl. And I can look at properties, and I really appreciate the value of recreational property because I know what it can be turned into and what people can get out of it, and for hunting and fishing and other outdoor activities. And like I said, I'm a licensed real estate agent in the state of Iowa, and I'm also a licensed auctioneer in the state of Missouri.
And I know your daughter, if you want to talk a little bit about her, she's a agent as well with you?
Yeah, Shayna Sprinkles, she's my partner and my agent. She's busy with college right now. She had 2 or 3 finals today. So she's doing everything online with everything that's going on, but she has been a big help to me. She helps me with all the paperwork and all the technical stuff that I don't quite understand, that she really steps up and does all that for me. And then she gets me a lot of leads. So it's just been really a pleasure working with her. She's always been my sidekick all the way through.
I think that is just such a cool story. And I don't hunt myself, but watching your page, you guys definitely enjoy that together too, which is super cool. So last but not least, let's have Darren talk a little bit about himself.
All right, I'm Darren DeGroat. I grew up in the northwest corner of the state of Iowa, covering the counties of O'Brien, Sioux, Osceola, and Lyon County. I was kind of tucked in basically the 4 corners of those by Matlock, Iowa. During high school, I started working at a local elevator, and I have continued to work there. I've been there about 20 years, so I've gained a lot of experience and knowledge over the years working at the elevator. In 2016, I came across Jason Smith and Tom Bradley and decided to join the DreamDirt team. I started as a farm equipment rep, and then I expanded and got my real estate license about a year later, maybe 2. Went to auctioneer school with the guys, and so I'm a licensed auctioneer, have my real estate license, plus I'm a PRI graduate.
Lots of experience coming from you there, Darren. So we're excited to have you on today. So let's get into kind of the meat of this live. Let's just start having a conversation about the stuff everyone wants to know about. So you're all from different areas. Can everyone kind of give a little bit of a report on what land is doing in your area, what the market's looking like, prices? I see that Jason is connecting, so he might kind of pitch in a little bit too.
I'll go first. I'm in Southeast Iowa, Van Buren County. Van Buren County's, the CSR2 rating in Van Buren County is 49. My surrounding counties, Lee County is 52.3, Jefferson County is 61, and Davis County is 46.7. And what I'm seeing in the market is if you got above average CSR2 or about average, your property is selling just fine. If it's lower than the average, it's going to suffer a little bit, but that's always been the case. So I'm not seeing with the pandemic and everything that's going on, the prices seem to be steady on ground that's as good CSR2 values. Now, recreational property, it seems stable. A lot of it just depends on location, and then just our ability to be able to reach out to people on those recreational properties, I think, sets us apart from a lot of other people. We have really good luck selling recreational properties also because we have such a high clientele that's looking for them. But all the prices, the land prices, and this was as of 2019, and every one of those counties that I mentioned, the land prices are up about $200 to $300 on the average on every one of them on farm sales. The 2020 sales have not came out yet, so I don't know exactly what they are right now.
Thanks, James.
I can kind of cover central Iowa, I guess. Even though I live out in Dunlap, Iowa now, which is more towards the western part of the state, I focus a lot in Dallas County and surrounding areas. That's just because that's where I grew up. That's where I'm familiar with the type of land out there and have several connections with farmers. What I saw was we had an online auction in Dallas County. It was 75 acres back in March, and it sold for $9,100 an acre, and it rounded out to be about $104 per CSR2 point. And so that's kind of the trend with good tillable Dallas County, Central Iowa land, bringing above that $100 per CSR2 rating for tillable land. And there's several recreational properties too. I know we've had a lot in Guthrie and Dallas and Madison County as well, both tillable and recreational land, bringing really great prices, especially on our online land auctions. So that's kind of the trend in central Iowa as well. Land prices are doing really well still throughout this year. And I'm excited to see what the rest of 2020 brings.
I can go next for Northeast Iowa. Really, my focus is Winneshiek County, Allamakee County, Chickasaw County, Howard County, and really, any that's kind of the four that are around me the closest, but really anything in Northeast Iowa. And what I've seen is, based on like the last three properties that sold in the area, we're looking at like a 92 per CSR 2 point in our area, which is a fairly good price to be getting. There's one property that is coming up for auction in June, so that one will that one has a CSR2 rating of 71. So it'd be interesting to see what that one brings. And I think that farmland values in this area of Iowa have been holding pretty steady.
Anybody else like to touch on this? I see Jason joined us and Nicole.
We did.
Hi, guys.
We finally made it. That's one of the dangers of camping is sometimes you have to go find internet signal. So I apologize for not getting on here. But if I may have missed the question, but I think we're talking about land prices around the state. And, of course, I kind of keep an eye on land prices all across the state. We have our dollarsanddirt.com, which Stephanie keeps up all of the data for all of that stuff and is constantly on there. It's something I study a lot, all across the state, in addition to the surrounding areas, around the states of, around Iowa, Nebraska, especially. I'm a licensed broker in Nebraska, South Dakota. Also have licenses in North Dakota and Minnesota and Missouri as well. So I try and keep track of those prices. What tends to set the land prices in the Midwest, it's kind of the garden spot. Everybody looks to Iowa. We have what I call the Iowa effect. So I think if you study land prices in Iowa, you kind of understand what's going to happen surrounding us, minus tax issues in some of the other states, especially Nebraska and Minnesota. But around the state of Iowa, I'll comment on that. I'm gonna go clear back to 2011 real quick with my answer, and I'll try and make it quick. Back in 2010, 11, 12, when we started to see farmland prices run up, to where they were at that time, I said a lot in my blogs and writings that prices had finally corrected. Farmland prices had been undervalued for decades prior to that. It's just a fact. I mean, up until that point, farmland was really cheap. People would walk out of auctions to say, man, that was expensive, when it was selling for, good Northwest Iowa tillable farmland for $3,000 an acre. And people thought that was a crazy price. And you would love to go to Northwest Iowa and buy land for $3,000 an acre today, because it finally corrected. Every asset's worth, there's this relationship from its income producing ability to its value, and farmland prices finally corrected. So, kind of the gist of my story was around 2012, everybody said, we're in a bubble. These farmland prices are going to burst. It's just going to blow up. And everybody that bought farmland is going to be in a lot of trouble. Here we are 8 years later, 2020, farmland prices have held up through all kinds of things. In 2013, we started to see a reduction in commodity prices that has, it's essentially stalled. Now we're seeing even worse, and farmland prices continue to hold up. I know I've talked to a lot of people recently that might be interested in selling farms, but they're really nervous because of the time period. Here's something I found out in the history of my real estate. People are always nervous. You're going to be nervous. It's not an easy process. That's just the way it is. And farmland prices today, we know the pattern, we know where we're at, and they're pretty good. Around the state of Iowa, I see an average when you take northern Iowa and southern Iowa and you put everything together, seems to be running about $102 a point on tillable acres at this point. And I don't want to confuse people between recreational combination use farms and pasture farms. I'm talking about tillable farmland, something that's, had a plow run over it. It's got crops planted on it. I'm talking about those particular acres. We can always look at other acres and figure out a formula to value those. But across the state seems like 102. South side of the state runs closer in the 80s. Some stuff on the north side's running in the 90s up to 100. And of course, we're still seeing those outlying sales that are up in the 120s. We've had a couple of them ourselves, at DreamDirt, where we've been beating that state average, hitting up in that 120 to 140 range, which those are just spectacular sales in today's market. And, even over, you could look at the course of history, that's a spectacular sale to sell a farm in the 120 to 140 CSR range. We've even had them go as high as $250 a point on some of the real outlying, the anomalies. So right now, my report is things are really strong. People are really interested in farmland. I just booked a new, I think it's, 301 acres, Tom, we just booked over there in Guthrie County.
I called it 3.7. I guess I think it's somewhere in that. It's 300.
Yeah, it might have been 307. It was somewhere there in the low 300s. Nice 72, 75 CSR farm across that thing, uniform and flat. And that farm will do really well, as well as any other farms like it.
Yep, and just to hit on with all of our agents, Jason and I, we cover pretty much the whole state of Iowa and get into Missouri and some of those places like that, Nebraska and up north as well. And really, land prices are just pretty steady everywhere. Jason and I's booked some land auctions in northern Iowa, really see good CSR2 numbers on those, and they're bringing that $100 and some plus a point, like Jason said. Down here in my area, Madison County is where I call home and take care of our office in DeSoto. See a lot of pasture type ground that we've been selling in this area. Had a very good appetite for that type of land. We sold a pasture farm just southwest of Winterset in Madison County here a little earlier in the year, bring $4,200 an acre. That's a really strong price on a pasture farm in Madison County. We've sold some farms down in Missouri, nice tillable farms. Missouri's a little bit different, but we had some super good sales down in there on row crop farms as well. So the appetite for farm, if somebody's got a farm they want to sell, right now is the time to think about it. Jason and I's been talking about this for years. When are we going to see a change? And like Jason said, there really hasn't been a change in it. These surveys come out, and if anything, we always see just a tick up, 1% up on land prices.
Well, you have, and the vast majority of the time, you see this little bit of a creep, and that's the way farmland prices are. It's just creep. It's like everything in our life. I always say that everything just creeps, from our weight to farmland prices. It just goes a little bit at a time, so you barely notice it's ongoing.
Yeah. So if you're you can pretty well see the trends in the area, and those farms that aren't selling and stuff in those areas, they might have been just a little bit overpriced. So
awesome. I love the update, getting a good picture of what's going on in the market right now with all these experts on the call today. So let's kind of move into our next topic. I'd really like to talk about kind of vetting an auction company or a land sale company. I mean, we've all lost a client to another auction company or land sale company, which is fine. It's the nature of the business. But I know we really care about our clients, and we know how big of a decision selling land is. It's one of the biggest you can make in your life. I mean, whether it's a family heritage or a family farm. But I'd like to know, get a conversation going with everyone, why we feel it's important for land sellers to fully vet the company or option they decide to sell with.
I'll go a little bit first. You know, I've had clients that we've never even met. Jason and I's dealt with them strictly through text message, and later on after that, the stories they tell us of how they vetted us is they knew a friend or somebody that used our service. They followed our marketing type situation and really thought that was impressed by our marketing and so forth on that. You know, where we've had the clients that we go sit down and sit at their tables with them, and you know, we know their story and we know their family. So we've had a huge array of type of people we've sold from, that, you know, we go through the process that they've vetted us. They've been they've done all their research on us, and a lot of it comes from our internet exposure.
You know, I'm always game to answer this question, and so maybe I'll kick off a little bit with Tom here too. I spend plenty of time pulling out my hair over this particular subject because it's something that I'm really passionate about. I'll bet you in your life, Kristen, you've heard me say that I began DreamDirt because I wanted to create a safe haven for sellers. I wanted a place where sellers could go get solid information, where they could trust and feel comfortable. And I think that you know as well, that's something that we concentrate on a lot, is making people feel comfortable, making sure that they have that. It's kind of a dark, dirty world, land trading, land buying, land selling. It's a place where it's so easy for people to get taken advantage of. And, you know, there's one thing, my industry knows my feelings. I get some heat about my feelings about these things. But farm management companies selling farmland scares me. There's nothing wrong with it. It's completely legal. If you choose to deal that way with those people, that's up to you. That's a personal choice. That's what's great about America. I just feel really uncomfortable about it. If I was going to sell a farm, I want to go to a company that's what they do. They sell farms. They don't have any other motivation. In fact, there's just no other question out there.
Jason,
they're on your side. Go ahead, Tom.
Can we kind of talk about the situation of Guthrie?
Oh yeah, sure.
That farm has not been owned very long, and that farm's coming from a situation like that. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But the farm probably wasn't offered to the open market, and now it's going to auction on a public auction, and going to be profitable to the buyers, and it come out of a farm management hands.
Right. And, you know, and I think that's one of the things, you know, we have a graphic that shows, you know, when you go to a farm manager, sell your farm, realize he has all these built-in clients that he's going to deal with over and over and over for the rest of his life. Your perception is, well, he's got all these buyers. But when it comes down to that sort of a relationship, if I was in that sort of a relationship where I worked with these buyers year after year after year, and it was my job to help them build a portfolio that was profitable, guess where that profit comes from? In the value of the land. So essentially, the cheaper they can sell your land, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but working with those buyers, the cheaper that buyer can buy your land, the more profitable his operation is year over year over year over year. And as a seller, you're being gone tomorrow. You're not going to be around. Does that leave you with this feeling like, well, why would they want to keep me happy? What would really bind them to me when this buyer, these management clients, are just going to be constantly there? They're going to be constantly pleasing those and feeding that agent or whatever it might be. That's the one thing that I see, Kristen, that makes me really uncomfortable. And I'm not saying there isn't good farm managers and there isn't good farm managers with good intentions, because there is. I know some super guys in the farm management world that sell farms, but the situation just makes me uncomfortable. One thing that I wanted to create in DreamDirt was a place where people could come to us and we didn't have any personal motives. We didn't have any other situation where we could make money after the sale. So when we make a sale and we make a commission, done and over with. You're gone as a client, you're out the door, but we don't make any more money from that transaction. It's done. So in other words, we're not going to do farm management on that farm and take 5% of that farm that you just sold with us year after year after year after year. We did our job for you. We had this agreement where we're going to do the best that we can for you. We're going to represent you. We're going to be on your side. We're going to be your cheerleader, and you can trust us because there's no more money to be made after the sale for us. That's the maybe one thing I will say about vetting who's going to sell for you. And I'm sure everybody's got some other ideas on thoughts that people, can kind of keep themselves safe and in a good position.
Let's hear from our agents a little bit. What other considerations should people take when deciding how or who to sell with?
I can start. There are several different ways to vet an auction company and several different reasons why and things to look at. Definitely look to see if they're licensed professionals in real estate or as an auctioneer as well. And sometimes choosing your hometown auctioneer that everyone goes with might not be the best for you and for your farm. You really truly want to connect with a real estate agent that you share common goals with of selling your farm for the highest value. And us agents here at DreamDirt, we can really do that for anyone in Iowa. I know we covered kind of just our geographic regions and maybe where we grew up or where we're at right now, but I can guarantee that talking pretty much for anyone on this screen right now is if you call us and you live on the opposite side of the state, we'll be glad to jump in our car and come meet you in person or just a phone call as well. We're willing to travel across the state of Iowa and surrounding states. And then another just way to vet an auction company is to see what's all included when you hire them as an agent. We can offer free marketing packages, and that's kind of going off of how Tom said, internet exposure. We're really leading the path of online land auctions. We have a lot of internet exposure, a free marketing package. You get email blasts, you get social media ads, radio ads even. So many different things in that marketing package that's available to our clients. You just have to reach out to us and just fully vet, do your research, dive in a little deeper. You're really hiring an agent to help sell your most valuable asset, land. I'm not sure what more a valuable asset could be than land. So do your research, do your due diligence, take some time, maybe vet a few auction companies, ask them for more information, for blogs, for research they've done, previous sales they've done, which is kind of what we're covering here too. So if you come across this video while vetting us, feel free to reach out to any of us and we can answer more questions.
And Kristen, I'll kind of just piggyback off of Rachel. Not only should you really be vetting like which company to go with, but also which option to go with. Really at DreamDirt, we're just here to help you understand all the different options that are available to sell your land. If it's auction, like a live auction or online auction or a listing. And I'll just kind of touch a little bit on the online auction. That's a really good option, just mainly because it takes away a lot of the social pressures that you may have at a live auction. It takes away, the feeling of, am I going to outbid, a neighbor or a family member? It's an anonymous bidding, so it takes away that. So really that can yield a higher price than for the seller because the bidders feel more comfortable, bidding as high as they would like to. It also gives them the freedom to have whomever they feel necessary with them when they do their bidding, if it be their banker or another family member, help them make that decision. So that again, helps the bidder be able to make a higher bid and then give the seller a better price for their land. And also with the online auctions, those auctions become available right away. So bidders can start bidding immediately, as well as they have a window of opportunity to do the bidding. So if somebody comes in, if they've made a bid and somebody comes in and outbids them, it gives them a window to make that decision, a 30-day window or a 45-day window instead of a 1-hour live auction. And that really, can help help the bidders, maybe bid a little higher than they originally thought they were going to go. And again, getting the highest bid for the sellers. Ultimately, us as agents at DreamDirt, we're just looking to get the full market value for the piece of property that we're selling, whichever option they choose to go to, because the seller and their family have worked very hard on that piece of property, and we just want to be able to get the highest price that they deserve.
Those are all such good points. Thank you.
If I could add something to that, I would just say, vet, find out all you can, do your due diligence. You have one chance to sell this farm. More than likely, you got one good chance to sell it. You can sell it after a failed sale, but a lot of times it doesn't set the price, and then you're really going to struggle with it. But and my biggest advice to people out there is call someone professional before you decide to sell your farm and try to list it on your own. Everybody thinks they can list it on their own and make more money because they won't have to pay a commission. My best success on all of our sales has been people who called me first before they ever thought about selling their farm. And I had one in Lee County, Iowa here on April 15th that sold, and that farm met its reserve 10 days prior to closing date on an online auction. Those people didn't have a thing to worry about in those 10 days. They knew their farm was going to sell. And if they didn't have nothing to worry about, they didn't have to worry about going anywhere on auction day. And did I sit back and know it was going to sell for 10 days and not do nothing? No. I worked every day just like that farm had not sold. I was on the phone every day trying to find a buyer for that farm, even though it sold. I didn't give up. I just kept working and working. It ended up bringing $4,625 an acre, just about $1,100 more than what they were expecting per acre.
James, I just want to, I don't know about Jason, but in my involvement since doing these auctions and online auctions, I mean, that's the only way we would have one met if that time of period is an online. But that auction you're talking about is the only auction I've seen that we've confirmed that early. And that was a fantastic point that you brought up. And something that could happen like that for a client, think of the ease and the relaxation, knowing that your agent, like what you just said, didn't give up going back. He's still out there gathering up more money, but the tension come off of them 6 days earlier. They knew they had a fantastic offer, and the rest was just going to be what it was going to be. So,
Tom, I'll address that too. One of the points we make in our ebooks is that so many times you and I have done live auctions, for years. And how many times did the seller walk in looking like a zombie, looking like they hadn't slept in days, and shaken? I mean, we've seen people walk in and actually, like, visibly their hands are shaking, they're nervous, they're scared. And the point that James made is just, I mean, it's an excellent point, where people that use our online land auction process can sleep at night the night before. We just had an auction, and I can't remember which one it was, and I talked to the seller and I asked her, I said, "You sleep the night before?" And she said, "Like a baby." When you use the live auction method, sellers don't enjoy that same thing. Instead, they live that stress that won't peak until 10:30 on the morning of the auction. Whereas ours, we push that clear back into the process so that it's over with and done. And I can't say they can enjoy it, because there's never anything easy about selling a farm or selling a family farm, but they can really, really reduce that stress and bring it down. It's just a super point that James made. And James, I think, does have the record for the company. And I've got something good to say about every one of our agents on here, but James is one of those guys that's just a bulldog. He won't quit working. He said that he didn't sit back for 10 days afterwards, and he didn't. He pushed hard through that to maximize the price and get the absolute best he could for those clients. But he does hold the company record to have one confirmed, past the seller's expectations 10 days ahead. I think before that it was maybe 2 to 4 days in that range.
I think
so quite a bit on that one. That was a super, super good sale.
I think the only thing, Marcy, my fiance's sale, was one we I think 2 or 3 days before the sale. And another prime example, we were selling that farm the day before Thanksgiving. Think about the stress. And her we confirmed that auction. It was surpassed what her expectation was, and we confirmed it 2 or 3 days before that. Took a lot of stress off of her. I remember her sitting with me in DeSoto when we were finishing that up, and literally just about in tears with what it did. And so it really does do
in
it
a good way. Good tears, happy tears.
Yeah, happy tears.
Kristen was right in there too, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
No, I just wanted to open up if anybody has anything else to say just about vetting an auction company. Otherwise, I'll transition into kind of our last topic for the day.
I'll chime in for just one thing here. And again, when you're selling the land, your land, it could be an estate, it could be a trust, and you're sitting around the table with all your siblings, whatever age there are, that is one of the hardest things to really come to an agreement. And I believe if you can get a company that you believe in and have them sit around the table with you, you will reduce those anxieties, like Jason was saying, and just the knowledge that a company, especially like DreamDirt, could bring in to a table of 4 or 5 of you all trying to make decisions. Because honestly, I came from a farm where dad and mom did everything. I didn't even really know that there was a farm management company out there, that's what companies did. And so those just little pieces and tidbits of information that a company like DreamDirt can bring to your table will help you make those decisions.
That is such a good point. And I know we even just posted a blog about kind of the emotions that go into selling the family farm, and a lot of it has to do with working with your family on the sale. So we have a lot of good information on that topic, especially on the blog. So thank you for bringing that up, Linda. Let's move into just some fun success stories or examples that you all have from your time here at DreamDirt. I know James shared a great one. We've had a couple sprinkled in here, but I know they're my favorite thing to hear, and they're a great example of how our auction process and how our company can work for our clients.
Success stories are always my favorite. I mean, those are the evidence of success. That is, really where the rubber meets the road. You can talk about anything you want to. You can have a big story. You can have flashy websites, all of that stuff. But none of it makes any sense unless you can tell a success story. And, I consider, I don't have any one particular success story that I like over the other. I like some things about different success stories more than others. But one thing that is maybe that I really feel good about is we've never had a client walk away mad. We've never had a client walk away angry or upset at us. And that's one of the things that really makes me feel good about what we do, because we do work really hard to make sure that everybody's happy with it. And that really comes off. I think that when people come into our process of selling, they're kind of shocked by the level of customer service that they get. They're really shocked by how much we actually meant what we said. And I've heard a lot of these comments, and I'm just kind of repeating things that people have said to me that, oftentimes there's a big story, but then when you go do business with people, you don't really get what you expect. It was a lot of marketing and advertising. I've never really known that tactic. I'm always kind of the guy, and you can call me naive or whatever it was. When I, read marketing from a company, I expected to get exactly what I read about. If I wanted to go to a bank and I read a bank website and their advertising said they were great for business, they'd help your business grow, then that's what I would expect when I got to the bank. If I went to, some other company and they had a claim, I'm going to expect to get that. And that's, that's sort of the way I live life. And that's the way I want my company to be. And that's what I expect of all of our employees and our agents. So my favorite success story isn't any one particular one. It's maybe just the idea of having those success stories and having our people walk away. I'll move down one level from there. If I can think of one real particular success, it was our movement towards the online land auctions. I think that moved the needle for a lot of our clients. That really, that was a point in history where things changed. And I know that Tom will say the same thing. Tom and I are auctioneers. We love to talk fast. We love crowds. We love to crack jokes. And when we moved towards live or away from the live auctions towards the online land auctions, there was a little bit of sadness, wasn't there, Tom? I mean, because that's what we love. We love being out in front of people.
That was like our game day, everybody practices or whatever. It was sad, but what we're providing and proving with the online for our clients far surpasses any of that my personal feelings of getting to do all that.
Okay. I've got, when we moved to those, I agree with Tom, it's just the sadness, but we've seen that. I mean, that was the best thing for our clients. And we see even more success, maybe as my point, as a result of that. And I know that Nicole has some thoughts on this, and I'll let her throw hers in real quick too.
Yeah, and we still do the lives, and those are fun, and you get out there and talk to people. I think one of the best things that DreamDirt brings to the table, besides all of the knowledge and besides all of the technology, is our personal relationship with our clients. I mean, we truly like to hear their stories. There's nothing more compelling to make you work hard for somebody when they're explaining, this is my retirement. Everything hinges on this. And it just makes you really connect to them and work hard and get the job done for them.
Now you're going to make her start crying.
I love that.
Well, it is. It's Jason and I and Nicole set in some of us with us on some of those. And Linda kind of talked on it a little bit. We've sat at a lot of tables, and there's been tears shed and a lot of emotions flying. And, it's a unique situation when you are a part of that. You kind of become a part of their family. We've had families stay in touch with us after the sale and wish us Merry Christmas, and vice versa. We do the same thing. And, that's a really rewarding part of our job.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. None of them are real good success stories.
Not.
We're just generally talking about success.
We just have, I don't want to go too long here, just in respect for everybody's time. So if any of the agents want to kind of close up with a good story, just example, or anything else you want to close out with.
Don't all speak at once. Darren, what do you got? Anybody got anything?
We just had a great success story up there in Darren's area. Darren's up in Sheldon in Northwest Iowa. We just sold a farm up there. Oh, what's it been now? A couple weeks ago. Stephanie probably knows best, but a couple weeks ago now. And boy, we just had a good sale up there, didn't we, Darren? I think we end up at 12,700 an acre with an average of 12.2 across all those acres. And maybe the success in that is not understanding the background. The highest sale in that neighborhood prior to us doing that online land auction was 10,200 an acre. The seller had an offer of 10,400 an acre the day the signs went up. We had a guy come in and say, look, it's not going to bring any more than 10,400 an acre. Tell him I'll pay now and cancel the auction. And by golly, auction day, the market said $12,700, a vast difference from the original offers and the original expectations of people. So that was a great success story from Darren's area up there in Northwest Iowa.
Yeah.
I actually have another one. So last fall, I was contacted by a family friend to market a combine, and he had brought it to a local auction lot about 35 miles away. His auction failed at that time. Came to me. We put it on farm bid, marketed, I think, want to say 3 weeks. We outdid what he was expecting, and that's one thing I will say. I really believe the marketing that DreamDirt has is what shines for DreamDirt.
Yeah, I agree. And that, Darren, you make a good point. Not only do we sell land, but we also sell farm machinery for a lot of, our customers. And we have our farm bid auction every Thursday, and that's a great place. Any of our agents can book equipment into those things. And we've had some really, really good success stories in addition to the land.
That's something unique about us too, Jason, is if somebody has an estate and contacts any one of our agents, that's something that sometimes somebody that lives in the city or off the farm that's been away from their family farm for years, they're disconnected. They're overwhelmed. There's machinery, there's land, there's livestock. They have no clue where to start. They literally have a one-stop shop that their agent that they contact, whether it be them or somebody inside our company, there is somebody in our company that can help them with every aspect of that auction or that handling that estate and getting it cleaned up for them.
Tom, that reminded me of a story. I'm never short on stories. You remember getting a phone call and going to Vinton, Iowa, northeast Iowa, and sorting cattle in a blizzard?
I do.
Because of a death, and that's just a good example of when somebody passes away. There isn't anything we can't handle, including sorting livestock in a blizzard at Vinton, Iowa. And sitting right next to me, my wife now runs our We Take Bids platform, which is the personal property platform. As we move and as we grow as a company, we become more of a one-stop shop and the place where people can sell anything. And her We Take Bids is just taken off for those that are following it. She is now in just a short, what have you been at it now? 3 months, sold something to every state in the nation and into Canada.
That's awesome.
All 50, we have all, and I just got to looking the other day. We have all 50 states covered. She said brought just a ton of buyers from New York and California both. California, she just has brought a ton of bidders from California. And so they're constantly shipping stuff out to California. And these Iowa farm estates are really valuable in those particular markets. And that's been another success of ours. But like to Tom's point, it's also makes us the place where you can call for anything and get full liquidation. And, you don't have to bring a bunch of different pieces together to make one thing work.
And that's what makes us very unique too, Jason. I kind of tipped on it. Rachel or Linda, Darren, James, any of us, we don't have to know everything, but our whole team together, when they hire somebody, they get a whole team, and that's pretty awesome. Linda doesn't have to know everything about farm machinery, but she can tell that client, you know what, there's people in my company that we can turn this over to and let them help with this. And that's pretty unique.
Mm-hmm. It is, Tom. And, one thing that I'll say about us a little bit different. In our industry and in our space, I read a lot of biographies, new agents coming in the market, old agents have been in the market for a long time like me. And I always see people talk of this passion for agriculture and all of those things. And them are great. Nothing wrong with that stuff. But what it takes to be in our position, what it takes to be effective, is that we're good marketers, that we're people that can expose things to the market. So I will bet you anything you want, I could never grow a corn crop close to what our customers can. I mean, just plain and simple, I can't do that. I'm not an expert on growing corn. I'm not an expert on managing farms or fertilizer application or precision agriculture. I know that they exist. And I can get you the right information on them in the right place. But what I understand is marketing farms, exposing farms to the highest number of people, maximizing the value of it. I understand the advertising resources. I understand the right people to hire, the right people to talk to. And that really is what we do at DreamDirt, is marketing and advertising. And we're really, really good at that. Don't come to us and ask for advice on how to grow corn or soybeans. But when you want to sell something, that's what we do. That's what we're really, really good at.
I think today was super fun to have such a wealth of knowledge on the Zoom call, having 5 of our many real estate agents on. So good to talk to everybody. I'm just going to kind of wrap this up here unless anyone has one last word they'd like to share.
Can I add something about our online land auctions? I know we've thrown that word out a lot, and we have so many success stories about our online land auctions. And personally, I think they're so successful just because we tailor it to the seller's needs. The sellers can set the terms and conditions for their online land auction. So if they want bidding open for 30 days, we'll leave their auction open for 30 days and get it done. If they want it to be 3 months from now, we can put it on our website and have bidding open for 3 months. We also can help set closing dates, how much earnest deposit is due, and so many more details that are in terms and conditions that might get overlooked in other auction companies. But everyone at DreamDirt here understands the terms and conditions, how to protect our sellers, And that's how our online land auctions are just so successful for both the sellers and the buyers know exactly what they have to do for the auction and when the auction is complete as well. So just wanted to throw that tidbit in there.
And I want the last word, Kristen.
Okay.
I agree with Rachel. I believe that selling farms through an online auction is probably the most powerful method to sell a farm. Just plain and simple. It's a very powerful method for selling a farm. But maybe my point was that we still do live auctions. Over the course of the last 12 months, I think we've had 2 clients that insisted they have a live auction. They didn't like the idea of an online land auction, and that's fine. I told you earlier in this thing, Tom and I still love to do live auctions. It's fun. It's our favorite thing. We're more than glad to come out and do a live auction in person. We're going to be doing a live auction for machinery at the end of this month on May 31st. But, you know, last August, we went up to Sac County and we sold the base farm, which was a tract in Crawford and Sac County. We sold that as a live auction with simultaneous online bidding. And then Tom had one client down in Missouri that said, nope, I don't want to do an online land auction. I want live. So we went down there. Tom, Dylan, Nicole, and I.
And Rachel.
And Rachel. Was Rachel down there for that one? Okay. And Rachel. I don't remember Rachel being there, but you're probably right. You're usually righter than I am. But anyway, so we went down there and did a live auction, and we still do those. I'm more than glad to provide those services. And like you said, I really had fun today. This was a lot of fun listening to everybody and hear their stories and everything. And I always appreciate the opportunity to be here and amongst you guys. I think you're all a great team. And I think you're all a bunch of good-hearted people that really want to take care of people.
Yeah. So to kind of close out, if you're interested in talking to any of the agents we have on today, they're such a great resource, especially if you're in the particular areas that they live. They're really the expert in the area for the market. You can find everybody's contact information on www.dreamdirt.com under the team tab. Give them a call, and like we talked about earlier in the chat, just get to know your options before you come to that decision. It's a really important decision to make. So get to know your options, get informed as a seller, and talk to some of the experts we have here on the call today. So with that, everyone have a great week, and we'll see y'all next week.
See y'all.
Thank you.